Hello gamers, and welcome back to Beyond the Emulator. I'm your host Dylan, and this is another episode of Retro Recap. In today's review, I'm going to be breaking down some Trimui firmware news that I've been testing over the past few weeks, and now I'll be adding the Miyoo Flip V2 to my collection of reviews. Let's welcome him in. Here he is, running SpruceOS right now currently. There's a lot to cover, so no real details to share up front. Let's just say there's a lot of Portmaster to be shared to show compatibility on some of these multiple custom firmwares. I'm going to include all the links below. So sit back, grab your favorite Trimui or Miyoo handheld, and follow along as we tweak your setup for peak performance. We're going beyond the emulator. And if you enjoy these handheld deep dives, please drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for all your support. Now without further suspense, let's get started. So welcome gamers, welcome. So as you can see, I've added the Miyoo Flip V2 to my collection with my Trimui line of TSPs, TSPS, and brick and hammers. So actually I had a previous video for the all-in-one SpruceOS. I was able to share 4 different devices. Well, I used that same SD card, loaded it into the Flip, and here we are with the same Spruce. Same games that were listed on my, all exactly the same SD card. I just have a different front end, my theme. So I just wanted to show you how that works. And in the last week or so, I've actually not just done this one, I've also done a Knulli build and ran it. So what I was going to do is go ahead and just show you. There's 5 devices they basically are able to cover with SpruceOS that I actually carry. So I can swap that card actually out to my Brick Hammer, my Brick, my TSP, and my TSPS. So just wanted to kind of show you that example. And then later we're going to come back with SpruceOS, and I'm going to show you some Super NES games that I found in the last couple weeks that look pretty exciting. You might want to add to your collection. So, was it Super NES? Yes, Super NES, not NES. I've got a couple of them. I've been watching some videos that I'll share a link as well that I found with some hidden gems. So let's go ahead and shut down SpruceOS. We'll go ahead and remove the SD card out of it. After it's completely shut down. This is a great little device. Kind of fun to play with. Nice and pocketable. Not worried about getting your screen scratched. So let's move on. We're going to do the same thing with the Miyoo. We're going to go ahead and boot up Knulli. And this is Knulli Scarab. These are the 2 that I've actually installed. One doesn't. There we go. There's Knulli. Get that booted up here, and then I'm going to show you some new applications that I found on the Nextui. So here's basically my layout on my Knulli build. I've got a couple things here. What I have actually got running on ports, because ports works really well with Knulli, and what is a nice feature with the Miyoo Flip is the HDMI port. So being able to port it to my TV has been pretty awesome. So for example, if we wanted to run Knulli on the Flip, we could actually run the Simpsons Hit and Run. Get yourself connected with the controller and be able to play it from your big screen TV. And just like that, I could basically take the connection here, HDMI, and basically connect it, and we've got it casted to the TV, and it has an excellent image. I could share more examples of it, set up to my TV at a later time, but it's just a couple connections. So we'll go ahead and get out of this. So there's my example showing the Miyoo Flip V2 running 2 builds, the SpruceOS and Knulli Scarab. We'll go ahead and put that to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get into the Nextui. So in my next little segment here, I've got Nextui running on the Trimui Brick Hammer and on the TSP, and we're going to show off TrimPod Classic. It's basically a little iPod application for music. Gives you the screen, basically just like an original iPod. We've got the white screens here. And if I go ahead and select my music, I'll include again this link to get this application if it's not on the Pack Store. Get more details. I can basically go with what's loaded in my playlist. My song will start, and then we'll get some visualizations. And there's some settings in there that you could do for that. So we'll let that run. This one timed out. But we've got visualizations going, and I feel my other TSP died. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'll show it still off. We'll take that SD card out. We'll swap it with another TSP. But you can set up for visualizations. Kind of a nice little feature for a portable MP3 player. We'll go ahead and boot up that other TSP with Nextui on it. And if you go ahead and get out of there, it goes by pressing B, takes you back out to the song. Press B again, goes back to my playlist. And you can see also, besides music, there's also, you can set up a playlist, just like an iPod. There's settings with menus, folders, visualization, your audio, your power. Again, name of my songs at the bottom. I can go down to now playing. Shows my battery. We'll leave that as it is. We'll go ahead and load up the other version here on the TSP. Here we go. We've got battery now. We're going to flip that switch off. There we go. We've got music. We're going to go with you'll see your volume control down here. How much is long? So we'll go ahead and get out of this one. And see how the visualizations will come up on that one. And after a few seconds, they'll load up on your TSP. So both versions work, or both devices work for using the Trimui Classic. There's my example. So here we are. I've got my Brick Hammer, and I wanted to show off this application called 4-Track Mini. It's designed for the Trimui Brick, but it can also be used through Portmaster. It was located on Itch.io. There's been a few images of it ran on Reddit. I played around with it a little bit. It's a little, basically, mixer. So when you go into it, this is your interface that you come up with. There's lots of functions. If you do your triggers L1 and L1 and R1, you'll get a menu here for doing projects and themes and controls. Just going to kind of give you some basics, but I've included the links if you're interested in it to get more detail of how it functions. It can be ran on a PC as well as a Mac or through Portmaster. I've got it running on Knulli, one of my devices as well. So you get out of here. But if we were going to open up a project, I believe, we're going to go ahead and select one. Let's go ahead. And what it's going to do, you've got this basically making here, but if I went ahead and did, I start pressing some dots, I get some beats. And you can pick up, you've got snares, you've got hi-hats. We can change some of these notes down below. As you can see. Or we can remove them. So you can change and set up your beats. There's a lot of other different settings, I believe, if you go over to your you can go ahead and stop it, and if you go over here, we can go back. You can set up your project, so you can do tempo. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick preview. I haven't done any real music D-pad stuff with it, mixing. I've kind of tampered with it and but not much more. But if you'd like to set it up, you go to your controls to set up your mapping. Again, I've included it. Just wanted to kind of give you a quick example and a shout out for 4-Track Mini. So in this little segment of my retro recap, we're going to be using Crossmix 1.3.9, running it on the Trimui TSPS, the TSPS model. And here I've got a couple things I want to show off. Portmaster was one, games that are working, as well as one of the applications that I've added, and I wanted to show you this example. It's scroll to the end. It's called Trimui 350, and when you go ahead and select it, it's actually showing your monitor, your system monitor here, so you can see actually what's going on. Our fan is actually not even running right now, but what I'll do is actually when I flip my power mode down below for extra performance, you can see it actually raised up on the CPU. Now if I go ahead and do that home key button on the top, it's going to populate and show my speed is 1416 megahertz, my governor is at performance, my temperature is 39 degrees Celsius, showing how much space, charging, my level, about 83% on my battery. But if you go down here to auto, we're going to go ahead and select A. We're going to raise the fan up. We're going to go ahead and select that home key to get off of it. Now you can see my fan is up to 65%. So you can see how it raises it up. So if I go up one more, we'll go to auto, there we go. We're at full speed. Take the home key off. You can see my fan's running at 71%, my CPU. Now if I turn the performance off, you'll see everything drop down there. So that's just an example. I'll include that application link so you can install it if you're interested on Crossmix for the new version. We'll go ahead and get out of that. And then I was going to preview a couple games that work really well with ports on the TSPS. So we'll go to ports, and basically the most common ones, Cro-Mag Rally, Devolution X, work really well. Those are basic ready to play games. Grand Theft Auto and Vice City, both of those, you're going to have to add additional files. Some of the files for some of these games have actually, I've been able to share from Internet Archive, but it boots right up real nicely. Grand Theft Auto. We could start a new game. We could load a new game. I haven't started anything yet, but it works like a champ for Grand Theft Auto 3. And we'll go ahead and hit Grand Theft Auto 4, or Vice City, I'm sorry. Go ahead and turn my volume up. Whoops. There we go. If we go right to start game, we go new game, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So again, with the necessary files to add to the Portmaster folders, everything works great. I don't have a frames per second, but as far as my audio is very clear, everything seemed to be working no problem at all. See if we can get some movement here. So not a problem, he's moving. Just have a little bit, might have to be with the controller, but as far as getting somebody, there we go. It works like a champ. So again, another Portmaster game that works on Crossmix. Hollow Knight I was not able to get working. Mina the Hollower. That seems to be booting up rather well. Oh, that one is not the device that showed it. I've got another one. I apologize. Sonic Mania works, Stardew Valley, Steel Assault, Super Mario 64, The Simpsons Hit and Run works really well. You just need the necessary files again. I know I have it running on MuOS as well, but it boots right up. Audio is really clear. I was able to install it on my Miyoo Flip through Knulli and was able to put it to my HDMI and show it off that way. So, just kind of showing the games that do boot. Shredder's Revenge. That one does have a little bit of a delay, I believe, when it loads up, so just be patient with that one. Again, these are all running off the Crossmix, and some of these were included with the SpruceOS SD card that I had received with the device. So I was able to just copy over some of the Portmaster games that were on the SD card onto my new build that I made here. So you can see this is actually taking a few seconds longer than the normal boots for Shredder's Revenge. There we go. And you have to be cautious of some of the versions that are actually, this one I believe is from Internet Explorer, or I'm sorry, Internet Archive, but the one that was actually on the SpruceOS was actually in another language, so it was hard to run it. This one's in English, so this one makes it real nice. The other one was another foreign language, so I wasn't able to play that game, but it did function. So again, there's a little sharing today, and then I've got one more last. One game that I was able to locate recently, which I'll include the title. We're going to go over to PSP. We're going to go, what I found was Final Fantasy Type 0. This is the English patch version. We're going to use it on the PSP. And what I've got it on is just the standard, which has been default for almost everything. And I've not set up any frame changes on my SSPP emulator when I'm running it. So we're going to go ahead and just use what is being defaulted. And again, this is on the TSPS. So I'll show you my settings here. We'll go right back to my save state. So game settings. I've got it at the Vulkan, 2x resolution, full screen, replacing the textures, no frame skip. I've left both my alternative speeds at 0, no auto frame skip. Everything down here is still basically a default. I think if we do the anisotropic filtering, we could probably do it at 8 times. And we've got the frames per second counter. So we'll go ahead and do a continue. We'll go back over here to our load spot. We're at about 60 frames per second. But as far as the movement, not a problem at all. This is moving really well. Audio is super loud because we had turned up the volume. But I just wanted to show you an example. This game actually, I want to say, is the file's at least more than 2 gigs in size. It's more of a specialty game. You don't normally see this on some of the sites and stuff, so if you wanted to go ahead and look for it. Again, it's Final Fantasy. We'll get back to the original title. Final Fantasy Type 0. It's the English patch version. If you want to go ahead and download that and run that on your device and see what works. I've installed it on one of my other TSPs, I believe, but I have not ran it yet. So just a quick example of that. And again, that's running with the Crossmix on the Trimui TSPS. And then we'll move on to another device. Here I'm running my Trimui Brick Black model, and what I've just loaded up is KUI. It's a new firmware that was forked off of Nextui that somebody had recently just updated. And when you actually boot up, their opening theme here is very similar to looking like the ESDE theme. I've loaded a few games on it yesterday after I installed it. I haven't done much more. It still has the same similar screens and options, just like if we were going to go to Dirt Racer. There's a couple customizations that have been added to it. I'll just show you this one at first. If we go to Dirt Racer, we press our menu key. We basically have our same options, saves, loads, it continues, just like Nextui. But if we go ahead and get out of it, we do quit. As you can see down at the bottom, We can actually remove it by wiping the game off of the device, or by pinning it by putting it on the front end as a shortcut. So a couple things that have been added there. If we were to go ahead and hit our menu key, a couple things that he's added, we'll go ahead and hit Settings. Go ahead and press A. And what he's done is he's redesigned the settings where we've got our appearance as normal, Bluetooth. Most of this has been alphabeticalized. You've got your boot logo here, your collections, your date and time, developer, display, function switch, in-game. That would be for retro achievements that have been added. Your LED controls. Whoops. We've got settings. So we'll go back to settings. In-game. You've got LED, you've got your network. Basically, you've got themes. So some stuff was just moved around in different folders to kind of customize KUI. We go ahead and get out of settings. And this is basically our pack or tools area. So you've got battery, you've got files, mostly a lot of the same. I've already installed Itch.io, it works. I've installed NDS, but I have not installed any ROMs yet. The pack deck, that's their pack store that he's labeling. So if we go ahead and press that, to show you a quick example, shows just a different format front end of how their pack store is working. So by basically going to install, I've installed Nintendo DS and the Itch.io, so it just shows them there. If I were going to go over here to emulators, we'll go ahead and I'll show you an example of how I'm going to install another one. So we'll do Nintendo 64. Again, I don't have any ROMs, I'll need to add it. We can go more in depth on KUI with more of the platforms loaded up with games and see how they function with it. So if we go ahead and install it, they're installing it by just using some details up in the left-hand corner to install versus the bar that was run across on Nextui. It's been installed and it goes out. So now if I go ahead and get out of Pack Deck, as you can see, Nintendo 64 has already been added to it. If you want to go to Retro Achievement Prefetch, you can go here, and we need to log into our Retro Achievements to basically get that set up. I haven't done that yet. We go over here, we've got a scraper and patcher set up. So if we wanted to go here and hit the scraper and patcher, we could do all platforms. We'll just do the Super NES with the 4 games that we're showing. We'll download all the missing. See how that works. And we are connected to the Wi-Fi. We've got 4 images that are completed. We'll go ahead and back out of it. Go back to Super Nintendo. And you can see we've got some images now to our games. So just a quick example, just showing you off what is being offered on KUI at this time, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth on it and maybe change up my theme, get some more games added and some more emulators, and we'll go in a little bit more in depth and go beyond the emulator. Here we are. What we're going to do is we're going to show off Knulli Gladiator 2 running on the Trimui Brick. Wanted to show off a couple port games that do work. So I've actually got this set up really nice. We'll go over and see what our ports are. Scroll through my titles. Ports. And I've actually had quite a few games working really well with Knulli Gladiator. Wanted to show them off. Cro-Mag Rally, of course, works. Dead Cell works. That has actually worked really well. I know you're working off a smaller screen D-pad versus the TSP. But with the necessary files, it boots up and works using Knulli Gladiator 2. And there we go. Go back to my continued game. I do notice that on this brick that I did pick up, the function keys on the back here, or triggers, they do rattle more than actually on my black brick or even on the hammer. That was something I noticed. There we go. I know you're on a smaller screen, but we've got it working. Not really sure why my volume isn't. There we go. Isn't working as well. I've had it working before. But this is an example of dead cells working on Knulli Gladiator 2 on the Trimui Brick. Got another one as well. Let's see another popular one that we've got as well. Hollow Knight I've had some issues with. Mega Man X8 Remake has worked really, Demake has worked really well. Mina the Hollower is actually working with the necessary files. Go ahead and boot that up. I do know it is working on this as well as MuOS. There we go. My trigger was off. But we've got Mina the Hollower. So my apologies on the volume for the other game. So she works as well. And I've got one last one that's really good. Down we'll go here. Starship. This is for Star Fox. Another Portmaster game. You get the necessary files. I'll include some of the links to some of this at the bottom of my description. Again, some of these don't have frames per second, but with the high res, they're working really well. Nice screen on it. A little bit of an audio glitch here at the front end. But now your audio sounds very clear, so
I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me.
So this works as well, just kind of giving that example. And again, just showing off some Portmaster games. Now we're going to drop into using Knulli Scarab on the TSP, and I'm going to show off two Portmaster games that are fully functional and work really well. So again, we're using another Knulli version and a different device. So here's my theme that I've laid out here. We're going to go to ports, and a couple that have worked well. Evoland Legendary Edition. Let that boot up. Some of them might require a patch at the front end, so if you have the necessary files and it takes it to patch, I want to say Evoland might have taken a few hours to do its patching for the compiling the files, but it works completely fine. Again, we have no volume. We just need to turn it up here. There we go. And it works like a champ. And there we go, we've got sound effects. So Evoland works really well using Knulli Scarab on the TSP. Show you that example. And the next one I've got that works really well is Ship of Arcanian with the necessary files again. Basically a remake of the Nintendo 64, more in a high res. So this would look really nice running on the Knulli build on the Miyoo Flip if you were able to put it to the big screen. Audio is really well. I've already kind of started the game but not really gotten too far. Sometimes there's some glitch in some of the audio, like there. Feels a vibration. But as soon as you load or move around and you get the regular music, it seems to tone it down. There's our opening screen. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't gotten too far into some of these Portmaster games. I've been more of this testing and see if I can get some of these to work for you guys. And what devices and what firmware are working really well. But as far as like the audio, feeling the vibration. Even if I turn it down, there is a small little rumble. But you can see how clear this is. Good image on the screen. Look even better if we were able to plug in. Good image. So there's an example of that. And we're going to move over to MuOS. So here we are, reached this segment. I'm going to be running MuOS Funky Jacondra. This is again on the TSP. And under my games, we're going to go over to ports. And between MuOS and Knulli, they basically are supported the best by Portmaster, and as well as some of the games by Crossmix. So that's why I'm trying to showcase most of those on with those firmwares on those devices to kind of allow you to see if you can get those Portmaster games that you're looking for also. So a lot of these are ones I've showed off maybe before. Dead Cells works. Depths of Limbo. Eveland Legendary Edition works as well. Hollow Knight will work, I believe, but we've got it in another language, so it's hard to follow through. I want to say Mina the Hollower, if you were looking to have it on a TSP, MuOS, it works really well. Versus me showing it the comparison on the Trimui, on the Brick. But it loads right up. Audio sounds good as well. And it boots right to the game. So we've already got a profile. And it will take us right to the game. And I wanted to show you another comparison while we get this going. Not with just that device while it's just loading up. But I was going to gather a game that was on Crossmix and get it lined up with one of these other devices that also has the same game. But as you can see, Mina the Hollower works. Also as well, Morrowind, Ship of Arcanian, that works as well. Stardew Valley works. Steel Assault, I believe, works. That might be my matchup that we were looking for. Can't recall if it worked or not on this device. There we go. So what we're going to do is on the top end, we've got MuOS. On the bottom, we've got the TSPS. So you can see basically between the two of them, the images, how clear they are and how fast they're running. We do not have this on high performance. We're in the Crossmix, we're just leaving it standard. You can see all the borders, but everything seems to be. So you can see the comparison there. I would say this one needs to be a little bit brighter on the backlight. But as far as the image, both of them seem to be the same. We're going to go ahead and do a continue here. We'll go ahead and do a new game here. We'll go with very easy. But both of them are working very well. Both of them have good imagery. So Steel Assault, we're going to get with this guy. Here we go. Not a problem. Whoops. Fell off the cliff there. Game over. We've got to be able to jump. Get this guy here. Oh, we lost it. So, not a good example by myself. Not a good gamer here. So, again, these are just a couple of examples. Let me go ahead and get out of this one. So, we'll go ahead and move Crossmix out of the way. Definitely need to practice on my gameplay. Simpsons Hit and Run works really well as on MuOS. Boots right up. So, again, nothing changed there. Good image on the screen as well. So I've actually got quite a few different devices that'll run it. One last one I wanted to show off that's really interesting is called WizBall on Portmaster. I don't know how I stumbled across it. but I was able to boot it up and get it going. I think it's a ready-to-play game, kind of a pinball type game that I was able to locate. Let's get it loaded. Audio is really awesome. Really puts good use to the speakers. So you're basically a bouncing ball shooting at things. There we go. And not be able to hit. Oh, we hit something. We're not able, but Whiz Ball was a find. There we go. Oh, we're out. Well, I'm not going to waste your time. I want you to be able to play games later. So we'll go ahead and get out of MuOS. And we'll go ahead and drop back into SpruceOS. And we're going to show off some Super NES games that I found. So we've got SpruceOS running on the Trimui Brick. Getting this loaded up here. I had to swap out an SD card. We were running the Knulli in there, or another version of firmware. Here we go. And we're already to Super Nintendo. I wanted to show off a few games that I had that I picked up recently. And again, these are hidden gems. I've got a link to another YouTuber that shows off some Super NES, some PlayStation 1, some PSP games. Maybe some older videos might find some games or gems that you might encounter and want to try out. One of them is Alcest. It's a Japanese game. We'll go ahead and jump into that one. Alcest, if I pronounce it right. But it is, again, a small little hack and slash game. See where we can go here and get this character moving. There we go. And this is a good game with a D-pad. You could also use it on the TSP. But it's a very small little platform game. Whoop. Oh, got us. So there's an example. And again, these are all running through RetroArch. And we're using the Super NES 9X core. And if you wanted to go into here, let's say, for example, I have a save state that went to. You could go into your settings, go over to your video. You could go over to scaling. You could turn it to a smart scaling. Or you could overscale or underscale. Maybe if you wanted to change your settings, we're going to go with the smart. It's going to bring our image up a little bit bigger. Go back to our main menu, quick menu. And it continues back to the game we were going at. So, this is one game that I found. Go ahead and get out of that one. And again, we're using SpruceOS on the Trimui Brick. And with SpruceOS, we can cross over to any device on the Trimui Brick Hammer, TSP, TSPS, and the Miyoo Flip. Earthbound I've started. King of Dragons is another one that I was able to find. Go ahead and show off a quick example of that. Basically a wizard. Another simple hack and slash. Just a different kind of Street Fighter game. Basically throwing out your wizard stuff. Get some... There we go. It's a treasure chest right there. There we go. Where are we at? We disappeared. Oh, we died behind the wall. King of Dragons. So another game. Scroll down to the Super NES listing that I found. Knights of the Round. Another hack and slash. This one you probably could set up for 2-player. We'll go with Arthur. And these all work really well. Another hack and slash. Basically, just a different time and a different image of characters, but we've got the same type of game. If that's something that you're into, something I've been actually playing a little bit more of, I'm going to try and get some 2 players set up and see if we can share off some net play. So that is another game there. Again, these are all using the RetroArch cores. And I've got one last game to show off to wrap this up. Legend of the Mystical Ninja. He was basically showing most of these off of being on a PC, so I wanted to show him what they would look like when we're running them off of a Trimui device. Press pause to join. Need to get this going. There we go. All of these are all in English, so with all the text you can read. But again, these are more hack and slash again. Just scrolling. Whoops. So, a couple games that look really good, and actually they look really well playing on here. Good imagery. Clear screen, clear resolution, bringing back some of those classics and playing them on the Trimui devices. So, there you go. Oh, we're going to die. So, again, from Beyond the Emulator, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something this afternoon. And again, happy gaming.